Welcome to the Parrot Podcast with your host, Sandra, where we talk about all things parrots.
Join us for expert parrot care tips, heartwarming stories, practical advice, exciting guest interviews, and more.
Whether you're a new parrot owner or a seasoned bird enthusiast, this podcast is for you.
Welcome back to the Parrot Podcast. I'm your host, Sandra, and we've got Mia over here foraging today. We hope that you are all doing well and that spring is in the air. And it's been a while since our last episode, but we've been taking some longer breaks between episodes. The episodes aren't going anywhere, but they just do take a lot of time and effort. So we've had to cut back a little bit because life has just been busy. And today I'm super excited because we have a guest coming on. Her name is Ada. You might know her online from the Bird Band, but you probably know her birds more than you know her. So today we're going to get to know her and find out more about her flock. Her flock consists of 6 cockatiels and 1 canary. So I'm excited to get to know their stories and learn more about cockatiels. The reason I also invited her onto the podcast is because we've had quite a few requests for people wanting to know more info about teals, especially as pets. And I recently also got an email of someone asking me to do a comparison between cockatiels and conures. And I thought, well, I could tell you all about conures, but I don't personally have experience with cockatiels. So this would be a perfect episode and to bring somebody onto the podcast that has experience with teals as pets. So without further ado, let's jump in and get chatting with Ada. Welcome to the Parrot Podcast, Ada. I'm so excited to have you on for an episode. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much. Very well.
Awesome. Well, let's start off with letting you introduce yourself to everybody and tell us a little bit about your flock and how many birds are in your flock, their species, and anything you want to share.
Sure. Actually, funny story. It all started with a pigeon.
With a pigeon?
Yeah.
What?
Because
and then we ended up with a flock of parrots. I need to know everything. Tell me.
Yeah. The thing is, during my life, I never had any relationship with birds, and rather than just feeding a couple of pigeons. And one day I saw in the garden a pigeon that was not looking good. So we went to the vet, and looks like he had paramyxovirus.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a very common disease in pigeons.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, after the quarantine, he could not recover and he couldn't fly anymore. So we decided to send it to a sanctuary.
Okay.
So when I was looking for sanctuaries, I found one in Barcelona. He didn't end up there, but I started following them on Instagram.
Okay.
And one day I was scrolling on my phone, and I saw this post saying, "Oh, we are rescuing a big flock of cockatiels, and we need people to adopt them because they cannot fit in our sanctuary." And I started thinking, well, what if? What if
I made space in my home?
Exactly. And that's how Pink and Floyd came into my home.
I love that their names are Pink and Floyd. That is so cute. So for anybody who's listening and doesn't know, Pink and Floyd are both cockatiels, male and female, and they're a bonded pair, correct?
They're, sorry, bonded?
They're a bonded pair, like they're in love.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So in total, you have 6 cockatiels, though.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah. Well, we have the famous Lucy and Mildred that they have stolen many hearts on the internet.
So cute.
With screeches together.
Yeah, they're so cute.
Yeah. And well, there's Daphne and Stella, they're siblings.
Okay. Daphne and Stella are sisters.
Yeah.
Cute.
And they look the same, honestly.
They're twins.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I love them.
I love their names. They're so cute. And you also have BG. Tell us about BG.
Yeah. Well, BG is a canary. I actually found her on the street. one day. Yeah, like 2 years ago or three already. Well, the thing is, I tried to find her family. No luck. So I decided to crane. By the time I just had Pink and Floyd. So I kind of
Okay.
felt bad for BG to be the only canary. So one day I was in the pet store and I saw this little canary. Um, and I couldn't take my eyes off him. So I ended up buying him. He had a very long beak, actually very long nails. So
Oh
it
my
didn't
gosh.
look in very good conditions. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was Lee. Uh, but unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years already. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm so
Time flies.
sorry. Did Lee and BG get
Mm.
on really well?
It was like, I want you close, but not that much. But I don't want you to leave, you know? It was this kind of
So it's kind of
relationship.
like I like you, but at a distance. Stay away from
Exactly.
me, but don't go
Yeah.
too far.
Yeah. The one day I had to take Lee to the vet and I put him in the carrier. And Bijou wouldn't leave the carrier. She would fly on top, on the sides. She was very nervous because she didn't want him to go
Oh, I
because she
see.
relates that carrier with leaving.
Yeah.
And well, she went to the vet too.
Okay, so Lee, you got at a pet store, and we know that pet
Yeah.
stores don't always take the best care of birds or feed them the best diet. So lucky for Lee that you took him home. And with BG, you said you found her outside. So like what happened? Like how did you find her? Like why did you decide to bring her in?
I honestly have no idea what happened. Suddenly, my mom calls me, "Hey, there's this little canary here on the street," and I went down with the carrier like, "Well, we're gonna see what's going on."
Yeah.
And she was very tired and like, looked like she had been flying for a long time. And when she calmed down, she adapted pretty well, honestly. Yeah.
So did you need to take her to the vet or anything?
Yeah. She had actually like rings.
Oh, she had a ring.
Yeah, she had to, but nothing was you couldn't read anything. They were very old, but she had this young appearance.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't really know what was going on with PG.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
And so how long has BG been with you now?
Like 3 years. I mean, I adopted first Ming and Floyd 4 years ago,
Okay.
and she came like a year later. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And do the cockatiels and the canaries, do they get along
Mm.
or not so
They get
much?
no, they get along great. Actually, Bishi is the one that puts everyone in their place.
The
Yeah,
smallest
she
one, of
she has a lot
course.
of character. Yeah,
I love like how much personality birds have. Like they are really
yeah,
so like cute and sweet, but have like such individual personalities. Like they're so different, which is like so nice to see, especially like when you have a flock as big as yours.
yeah. It's honestly it's amazing to see their interactions and what they actually learn from each other.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about the difference that you've noticed in caring for canaries versus parrots? Like, is the care similar? Is it different? Maybe their diets?
The cleaning is the same.
The,
There's cleaning
no
everywhere.
matter what bird
That's
you
for
have,
sure.
they're going to
Yeah,
be messy. They do not care.
exactly. Yeah. Um, the biggest difference is that parrots are usually neophobic, which means that they are afraid of new things.
Yeah.
It's their natural instinct to prevent them from danger. But in the canaries case, it doesn't. Well, at least from my experience, it's very different. They accept everything new. Yeah.
So BG's just like, what
They
is that? She's flying over to everything.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the
She's not
cockatiels are
scared
like,
of
that's
everything.
terrifying. Get it away.
Exactly. Yeah.
What about like diet? Are their diets similar? Like, does BG eat, fresh foods and like the same types of seeds and nuts and things like that?
The maybe the most different thing is the seeds. She
Okay.
eats more. And now I don't remember the names in English, like canary seed, I think it's called actually.
Okay. Yeah.
But for the rest, she also eats pellets, smaller pellets, fresh vegetables, grains, also soaked seeds, and a lot of leches. She loves leches.
Really?
Yeah, it's
I've seen this
like
with
a
so
canary
many
thing.
different types of birds that aren't parrots. Like they just love lettuce.
Yeah.
And I'm like, doesn't it just taste like crunchy water?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, she goes crazy about it. It's like an obsession. But with Lee was the same. So with both canaries was the same. It's just like they will prefer a piece of leches rather than some seeds.
That's so
And that for a
funny.
bird
I wish I
is,
was the
yeah,
same way. Then my
exactly.
bikini body would be ready. Oh my gosh. That's so interesting. Okay, so I also remember that last week BG had surgery. Can you tell us a little bit about why BG went for surgery and how did it go?
Okay, so the thing is, PG grew a feather cyst. This is a cyst that grows with a lot of feathers inside. It's called polyfolliculitis or something like that.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah, and it's actually very common in canaries and budgies.
Oh,
Yeah,
something
and
new.
yeah, and BG has a type of pattern on the feathers that she's even more it's more usual for them to get these feather cysts.
Okay. So it was
But
just a
in
cyst, but was it cancerous or
no, no, no,
dangerous?
no, no, no,
Okay. Okay.
no. And the thing is, it was underneath the wing, well, a
Okay.
bit to the back, but it was very hard to see. And she was bathing, and she was all fluffed up, and I saw something red, and okay, something is wrong there, and I
Yeah.
checked, and she had this big cyst. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
What was your
yeah,
reaction when you found this cyst?
well, at the first moment, I kind of panicked because what's going on here?
Yeah.
But I actually heard of feather cyst, and when we went to the vet, he actually confirmed that it was indeed a feather cyst. Um, the a thing that uh, like calmed me down, sorry,
That's okay.
was that in 2 weeks we had our annual check with the vet. So
Okay.
eventually he would have noticed. That's
Yeah.
why it's so important to have them checked every year. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I always say this. We talk about this all the time. Like an annual checkup is so important, but even
Yeah.
you can even go semi-annually. Like I take Mia twice a
Yeah.
year. We go every
Yeah.
6 months. And I've had Dr. Octavio on the podcast as well, and he said, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great idea too. You know, you can go twice a year, you can go once a year, whatever works for you, but you got to do those checkups because you never know, and you can
Exactly.
always catch things early. So what happened at the vet visit?
Everything went well. It was actually very, very quick. In an hour, I was already there to pick her up. She
Okay.
was awake,
Okay.
and we had a little incident. When I was in the car and leaving, I was still in the parking lot from the bed. I noticed a big drop of blood in the bottom of the cage. And okay, let's rush back inside. Fortunately, she just maybe she moved too much, but the vet just stopped the bleeding. We waited for a bit more, and everything went well. But
Okay,
it
so
was a
this
bit
was
of a
after the
panic.
surgery.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the vet determined that it was a feather cyst. And what did the vet say that needs to be done? Like, what do you do in the situation where there's a feather cyst? Do you have to schedule surgery and get it removed right away?
Yeah. Yeah, and as soon as possible, because if it grows too much, then it's harder for them to remove it because it's a very, very small animal.
Yeah.
So they cannot lose blood because a drop of blood for them, it's a big quantity of blood.
Yeah. It's not like
So
us. Yeah. Like
exactly.
we lose a drop of blood, we'll be totally fine.
Yeah,
But the more blood they lose in their little bodies, the like it's really important for sure.
exactly.
So then surgery day comes. I remember you mentioned to me you were a little worried, you were a little stressed out because BG's so
Yeah.
small.
Honestly, it went well. It went very well.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, I actually checked the scar, the wound, and everything is healing perfectly.
And
So,
it's been like a
and
week now since
yeah,
the
yeah,
surgery.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
But
good.
but honestly, 2 days after the surgery, she was already wanting to fly and very energetic. It didn't look like she had a surgery 2 days ago.
What a strong little fighter. My
Yeah.
gosh. And were you able to let her fly, or is she like, was the vet like, no, she needs to rest for a few days, let it heal?
Yeah, a little bit, especially in the beginning, because she bled.
Yeah.
So the first day that we arrived home, she spent all day in the carrier, that it's a small something like this.
Mm,
But then the next day she was very stressed. So the next day I let her go to her cage, which she has more. She's able to fly in her cage,
yeah.
um,
And was she flying around?
and a little bit, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
But I was constantly checking everything. Um, uh, Usually I have in the bedding of her cage, I have like a foraging tray
Okay.
with a lot of things. I covered everything. I removed all the perches that maybe it's harder for her to perch. So, well, all this kind of stuff. Disinfected everything. I wanted to be a very safe place for her.
Yeah. Yeah, especially
And
after surgery, like she has an
exactly.
open wound, so you want to make sure everything is sanitized and really clean.
On the third day, I had to let her out for 15, 20 minutes because she couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah, she was like, "Let me out of here."
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad that the surgery went well and that BG is so strong and doing so well. So now that
Thank
we know
you.
about canaries, let's jump back a little bit to cockatiels. So I actually had somebody that reached out and sent me an email asking me to do a comparison between cockatiels and conures. And I thought, well,
Okay.
I know about conures and having
Yeah.
conures as pets, but I don't really know that much of, having cockatiels as pets. So I thought we could do a little bit of a comparison between
Sure.
conures and cockatiels. And maybe you could start off with telling us, like, what are some key characteristics that you've noticed about cockatiels? Like, what is something unique about them? You have six of them, so tell
Yeah.
us.
The thing is, they are very different from each other. Their personalities have nothing in common.
Yeah.
Um,
Like parrots,
for
like
example, yeah,
personalities, they are different. But like for example, with cockatiels, I know that they do love to like forage on the ground. Like they're
yeah,
ground
exactly.
foragers.
Yeah,
They're powder birds, so they're a lot more dustier than conures, for example, because conures are non-powder birds. But Mia is not much of like a floor forager. Like she as like even Mango, our sun conure, like she's foraging like up top. She likes to be like in the pine cones, like in the puzzle trays, like in the cork, but she also really loves to forage.
yeah.
But
I've
like,
seen many conures like upside down and playing like that. And
yeah, are cockatiels like that? Like, are they like super
no,
playful, silly?
I mean they are playful and silly, but they are
But compared to like
uh,
conures, I feel like
yeah, they
cockatiels are a
are
lot calmer. They always look so like majestic and like
exactly
beautiful
yes,
with their beautiful hair and their rosy, cute
exactly.
cheeks. And conures are just like wild dinosaurs. Like Mia has a sign up there that says
Yeah.
"Beware of the raptor." Because I'm like, you're a little dinosaur. Even though she looks like an angel and she is,
Yeah.
sometimes she's also a dinosaur. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? When did I get a raptor?
She's adorable, really. Well, they can be very loud,
Oh,
especially in
really?
the morning. Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like their chirps are so like soft and nice.
Not really, no.
You're like, no, not when
No,
there's six of them.
exactly. Because I got used to it, but they can be very, very loud. Maybe not as much as other small parrot species, but it gets noisy.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially in the morning. For example, I let them out at depends on the time of the year, but usually from around 8 a.m., 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. I let them out.
Okay. In the morning.
Um, yeah, and they keep screaming until 11 a.m.
What?
And yeah, and it's not because they are bored because they have a lot of things, but they see the birds outside and they
So
just
from
shout at
7
them and
a.m. to 11 a.m., your
well,
cockatiels are
more like
just noisy,
from like 9
tweeting.
to 11, just eight
Okay.
hours more. Yeah, more like that.
And every day it's the same.
Yeah, especially Luti and Mildred. They get very loud. And Mildred is just so everything is a drama for her. And she puts so much passion into everything.
Oh my gosh, that is so
Yeah.
funny. Okay, so
And
they can be noisy. I Are they good
yeah.
talkers? Because I've seen so many cockatiels on like social media, like singing these like symphonies of like songs and music. Italian, there's this
Yeah.
Italian cockatiel. Do you know who I'm talking about? I can't
Yes,
remember
yes,
the
yes,
name.
yes.
And always like this
Um,
whole
uh,
performance, I'm like, this is beautiful.
yeah, with the vibrato and everything.
Yeah.
It's not my case. Floyd came with his songs already from wherever he came from.
Okay.
And Luti learned what I taught him and a little bit of Floyd's songs.
Okay. Are there like
But
specific songs that they know?
Luti knows, I don't know the lyrics now. If you're happy,
If you're happy
if
and
you're
you know
happy
it,
and you
clap
know
your
it, yeah,
hands.
exactly. That
That's
one.
so cute. Oh my, do you have a video? You have to send it to me.
Yes, yes, I do, I do. I will.
Cute. And what about like talking? Like, would you say that cockatiels are good talkers or they're more mimickers or they like to whistle more?
I feel like they can be good talkers, but is just a few cases, less
It depends on
cases.
the cockatiel.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
For example, Luti can say the peekaboo.
Cute.
He's a master of the peekaboos.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I love hearing birds like talk and sing. It just sounds so cute. It sounds so much cuter than humans.
Absolutely.
I've been trying to get Mia to say something. I repeat the same things to her for years now,
Yeah.
and I'm just waiting. And still, she will not say mama or I love you. She only says her name, Mia, Mia,
Oh, she
Mia.
actually says her name.
Yeah, she says her
Oh.
name all of the time, like every day. And sometimes if she's in her cage and I'm in the other room and she wants my attention, she just starts saying her name. And I'm like, say
Oh.
mama. You're Mia, I'm mama.
So cute. There's actually with cockatiels, the males are the ones who sing, and the females usually don't sing. But Stella is very chatty. She actually like starts making these chirps and looks like she's talking. She's
That's so
so
cute.
cute.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What about Pink? Is she very chatty or sings? No, she's just
Pink is like the calm mother of everyone.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
She's like, I have
Everyone
to
in the
keep
flock
everybody
thinks
under control over here.
exactly. Everyone loves Pink. Bishi loves Pink. Um, everyone likes her because there's these like they have their favorites. Luti and Mildred are very in love. Daphne and Stella, they like each other, but absolutely everyone loves Pink.
That's
She's
so
like, yeah,
sweet.
yeah.
Oh my
She's quiet, yeah,
gosh.
but
Cute. Would you say that cockatiels are like social birds? Like, do you think that it would be okay for someone to have just one cockatiel, or do they do better if they're in a pair or in a flock?
I feel like all birds that in the wild go in flock, it's better to keep them with at
Another
least
bird.
two. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I've seen cases that it's very hard for the bird to adapt to this new situation if they have been alone for a long time.
Yeah, that's also true.
Um, but I would always recommend getting another one because we are just big giants for them that yeah we clean and feed them, but at the end you cannot spend every hour of the day with them.
Yeah.
So at least it's nice to have company.
Yeah.
I feel like they need this company.
Yeah, for
Mm.
sure. I think like it goes with all birds, and we've talked about this on several episodes,
Yeah,
that it's always better to have like a companion of your own species. Like if you have, one conure, obviously getting them a mate or a cockatiel or any species of parrot it is. But I think it also depends on like the person and the individual situation and like circumstances. I would love to get another conure for Mia,
yeah,
but for us just right now, like the timing isn't right. And there's, just so many other things that you sometimes have to consider.
yeah,
I think that
that's
is
right.
also important that if you do have one bird, that you're just doing your research and, making sure that they have everything that they need to have like a good, fulfilling life with you.
For example, Bishi is the only canary, and I'm actually looking to adopt more canaries, but it's very hard to find canaries in adoption because I feel canaries are very mistreated, and especially here in Spain, it's very canaries. You walk a street and you can hear canaries everywhere, but you always see this small cage in the balcony.
Oh,
That, yeah, maybe they are just spending a few time outside, which I doubt, but
yeah.
I feel like because they are so small and so common, people have are
People think they
very
don't need a lot of space.
exactly,
Yeah. And
exactly,
it doesn't matter the bird like species or size, they all need space. And the more space you can give them, the better. Like when people ask for cage recommendations for size, I always say the bigger, the better. Like the bigger the
exactly.
cage that you can get, that you can fit, that you can afford, it's going to be better for your bird to have that space for when they are in the cage. But it's also important for them to have out of the cage time.
Absolutely. And here I have a clear example with Biji, 2 days inside the cage and she couldn't stand it. She wanted to fly a lot inside.
Yeah.
And actually canaries in the wild they fly like around 2 to 3 kilometers per day around their
Wow.
area. Yeah, yeah. So
Whenever I see them, like they're just so active. They're fast. They're like here, they're here, they're there. They're all
yeah,
over. Yeah, so they have also
yeah,
like I feel like a lot of energy, even though they're small, that doesn't mean that they don't need the space, they don't need the exercise. And I think that that's really important to keep in mind, no matter what type of bird you're considering, if it's a songbird or if it's a pigeon or if it's a
exactly.
parrot or, you know, something
They all
else.
need space outside and to be able to fly
Yeah.
every day. Yeah.
Look. Oh, she's finding a spot
Super
to nap in
cute.
my hair. Okay, so let's do like a little bit of back and forth, and I'll ask some questions so that we can compare cockatiels and
Okay.
conures. So let's start off with weight. How much do your cockatiels weigh? Like, what is the average size?
They weigh between the smallest, that is Daphne, she weighs 80 grams. I'm gonna tell you about the cockatiels that I know because I cannot weigh them all. The biggest is Mildred. She weighs 87, I think, 87 grams.
Okay.
And Pink and Floyd, and I cannot weigh them because they are not tamed. So it would be too stressful for them to if I weigh them very often. So they get weighed
Oh,
in their annual check. Yeah.
okay. So but at home, what you
Yeah.
could do is you could have like a perch stand and put it on a scale. They won't do that?
No, no. They are a very
Really?
special case. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So I actually looked online and I saw that the average weight of a cockatiel is 80 to 100 grams.
Yeah.
So I guess between your flock seems to be like between 80 and 90. So that's pretty on point. Mia weighs 71 grams. And it just depends. So like green cheek conures, I think, are a little bit smaller than cockatiels. But
Yeah,
very similar, like in weight. But it also depends on the individual bird and species, because some are a little bigger, some are a little smaller.
exactly.
And the average weight for conures is 60 to 120 grams. But again, it depends on the species.
It's a very wide range
Yeah,
of
like
weight. Yeah.
Mango weighed way more than Mia. So, and he's a sun conure, but he was also bigger than her. Like I could tell he had
Yeah.
a stronger beak. He's also like a little bit bigger than her. So, yeah. Okay, what about feathers? We mentioned earlier that cockatiels are powder birds and conures are non-powder birds. What is the powder like? Like, does it get really dusty and how do you deal with it?
When they are molting, have you watched Stranger Things?
No, but I saw
No.
your poster
Yeah.
on social
The thing
media
is,
for
in
Stranger
a,
Wings.
yeah, in Stranger Things, there's this other dimension when there's this dust everywhere, and it's a perfect example of how sometimes can get. I mean, not that much, but maybe they are preening themselves and they just fluff up their feathers like
And you can
and
see the dust like in the
yeah,
air.
all the dust comes out. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you have
It's
six of
exactly like
them.
that.
Imagine six of them preening at the same time. Poof, poof.
It happens. It happens. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
like, does it affect you in any way? Like, does it make you sneeze? Do you have air
When they, I
purifiers?
do have an air purifier. Yeah, because when they are molting, I mean, it's amazing how dusty everything becomes. And yes, I sneeze more.
Yeah.
But the air filter helps a lot, makes a lot of difference, not only for me but for them because they have very sensitive respiratory systems
Yeah.
and they actually need
Yeah.
uh, an air purifier.
I
So
also heard
if
that
yeah,
with powder birds, if you like ensure that they're bathing regularly, like that can
yeah,
help keep the dust down a little bit. Especially with like
yes,
African grays, I've heard that.
the thing is with cockatiels when they bathe and when they preen after bathing, it's then when they release all this dust and
Okay.
um it's just adorable to see them puffed up and suddenly everything dusty.
Oh my God. So if you're
But yeah,
wearing black and they're like on you, do you have like white dust
yeah, yeah,
marks
yeah,
after?
yeah.
Oh my God. See, I
Yeah,
don't
I
have
have
that
to.
with Mia. So Mia is not a powder bird. She has an oil gland, and so she uses that like when she's preening. But that's not to say that Mia isn't dusty. Like conures are also quote unquote dusty because when they're preening, that those keratin layers when they're
Yeah,
preening creates
mm,
like this little dust. And when I'm like preening her or she's preening on me, it looks like it's snowing. No matter what type of parrot you have, whether it's powder or non-powder, it's always a good idea to have an air
yeah,
purifier because either way, they're going to get a little bit dusty and create, that
exactly.
dust in the
Yeah, yeah,
air,
totally.
especially when they're preening and molting. Yeah. Noise
Oh
level.
yeah.
We talked about this a little earlier. You said that cockatiels can be still really loud.
Yeah, especially if they get scared. For example, we have a seagull that usually comes here in front of the window
Oh
in the
no.
building, yeah, in front of us. And when the seagull appears, everything is quiet. Everyone is looking out. But when the seagull leaves, it's when the drama begins. And they
Oh
scream a
no.
lot. They start flying. Yeah, yeah, it's a
And
drama.
and you're in an apartment, right?
Yeah.
Do all of your neighbors know that you have birds?
I'm sure of it because with this noise, it's yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, with conures, I would say that they are also loud. I'm not sure if they're louder than a cockatiel. Do you know the average decibels that cockatiels reach?
No,
Because I
no,
know
I'm not
with
sure.
sun conures, they can reach up to 120 decibels, and conures, on average, it's 70 to 90. At their like loudest, I think they're
Hmm.
90. So I'd be curious. Let's check really quickly because now I need to know. Okay, so cockatiels, their sounds typically range from 65 to 80 decibels, which is
So it's
comparable to a
actually
normal
less.
conversation or city traffic noise. However, during more intense vocalization, such as contact calls, they can be much louder. So I would say that I guess they're just as loud. Like like Mia can be loud if she wants to be.
Hmm.
And I'm sure cockatiels too.
Yeah,
I think like a
yeah.
sun conure or a macaw is going to be much louder, but I think both species seem to be quite similar when it comes to
Yeah.
noise level.
Thing is that your neighbors will notice it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about socialness and like how friendly cockatiels are. Like we mentioned how conures sometimes are like little dinosaurs. They're like flipping upside down. They're energetic, not as much as kayaks, I would say, but they're still like super energetic. They're on the
Mhm.
move, like they love to be up to something and like in stuff all of the time. What are cockatiels like?
Cockatiels, they are flock animals, so they do basically everything together. If one goes to it, everyone goes to it. If one plays with one toy, everyone wants that toy.
Oh my gosh.
No matter if there's toys everywhere. Or then what I've seen also is that they get divided in little groups, in pairs, and they do things in pairs. Like,
Oh,
for
that's
example,
cute.
Ping and Floyd bring each other. Luty and Mildred, I don't know, are exploring the furniture, and Daphne and Stella they go to it. They
Yeah.
rarely do things alone. Yeah,
When they have out of the cage time, do you have all six of them out and BG at the same time?
yeah, yeah. I basically at the morning I open the doors and yeah,
Okay. And
they
do
are
you
all
do you
day.
find it hard to supervise them when they're like in pairs? Like someone's over here, someone's over there.
Not really, no. Especially being employed, they don't explore as much. They are more
Okay.
afraid of things.
Okay.
The one that I have to keep supervising is Mildred. She always sneaks out
It's
to a
always
place.
Mildred. I'm always
Yeah,
hearing it's Mildred, it's
yeah.
Mildred. Poor
She's the one
girl.
that bites the wall. She's, yeah.
Um, Another like personality trait I've noticed that's common amongst many conures is that
Yeah.
they're very like affectionate and cuddly. Would you say that cockatiels are the same? Like, are they
Yeah.
like affectionate and cuddly, love scritches, or are more
Yeah.
independent?
No, no, they can absolutely not resist the screeches. Really. Um,
Cute.
and especially in between them. Luty and Mildred are a special case because they are always preening each other, screeching each other. It's
They love
but
the scritches.
yeah. But if anyone in the flock ones screeches, they go to Pink. Pink is the one that gives the screeches.
That's so sweet. She really is
Yeah.
the mother. She's like, I'm the head. I'm the head of the flock here.
Yeah. The sad
But
thing is that no one gives the screeches to Pink.
oh, so
Yeah,
you
and I cannot.
do.
No, no, I cannot. They are not bonded to me. They are scared of of
So
my
Floyd
hands.
doesn't give her scritches? Floyd, I need to have a
No.
word with you.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Sometimes I see him, but it's very, very rare. Yeah.
Okay. What about lifespan? Do you know like the average lifespan of cockatiels?
Yeah, it's between 15 to 20 years, but I've heard of cockatiels living up to 30 years. So,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So conures are about the same. Their average is like 20 to 30 years. So they have
Mm.
a very similar
Yeah,
lifespan. I think it just all depends on like the care, the
exactly.
diet, the exercise, mental stimulation, and all those different parts
Yeah,
of parrot
absolutely.
care. What about activity level? Would you say that cockatiels are like super active, more relaxed?
I feel they are quite calm. They have like moments during the day where they are more active, especially in the morning. It's when they explore more, when they scream more, but the rest of the day they are pretty calm. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
With conures, I would say that they're definitely more like energetic.
Yeah, I feel
Except for
like.
when Mia's napping, like she's really she's really sleepy. But yeah, when she's not sleepy, she is all over the place and she has like bird stations everywhere, ropes, hanging toys because
That's
she's
great.
always like here, then she's there. I would say that conures are definitely active birds.
Mm. The thing
Um,
is, for example, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Mildred, for example, she's slow. She's very slow. She keeps
Okay.
a very slow rhythm, but she never stops. So it's actually hard to keep up with her because she's always doing something. It doesn't look like because she's just minding her own business very slowly.
Yeah.
But you turn your head for a moment and she's biting the wall, for example, or the chair.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. She's so funny. Like
She's
I think she's becoming my favorite in your flock. And pink. I have a soft spot for pink now.
yeah.
She's a sweetie. Um, Tell us what
But
is the
yeah,
best part of having cockatiels as pets and what is the most challenging?
most challenging, I'd say maybe keep up the cleaning because
Mm.
with six cockatiels, that's a lot of poop.
Yeah.
Um, but I actually I have my routine and I got used to it, of course, but it's all the time cleaning all the time. It's never clean because the moment everything is clean, it's dirty again.
Yeah. I think that's with
And
like having parrots. I think that's like one
yeah,
of the biggest challenges. Like I too am like a clean freak. Like I want my floors to be clean. I love when
exactly.
everything is fresh. But then I let Mia out as soon as I finish cleaning. She's pooped here, she poops there. Like, how am I supposed to
Yeah.
keep up with all of these poops? So I can
You
only
you can't.
imagine with six. Plus, like
Exactly.
she's here, she starts crunching, she starts destroying a toy, she's playing with the
Yeah.
pine cone, and then all of a sudden it's all over the floor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Exactly like that.
yeah, whether it's one or it's
Mhm.
six, you're gonna have a mess. What about the best
Exactly.
thing? What's the best thing about having cockatiels?
I mean, I just love them.
They're so
They are
cute.
they are like my kids, really.
Yeah,
And it's this unconditional love that they have for you. This close relationship.
yeah,
It's irreplaceable, really.
yeah, for sure. I think that that's why it's also important to like. I saw that you actually did this post. It was like Titanic.
Tiltani?
Teal Tanic, yes, Teal
Yeah.
Tanic. And it was so cute. You mentioned that, like, they have to have a healthy diet and make sure that
Yeah.
you do your research and all that stuff. And I love that you included that in there in such a clever way because it is so true. Like, you need to do
Yes.
your research when you want to get a bird, whatever the species is. And for the person who's listening to this episode, they're probably thinking about a conure, cockatiel, or weighing out the options. So we hope that this episode is helping you. But it's just really important to do the research on the species, but also understanding like what you're getting yourself into, that they're messy, that they're loud, and all these different things, and how to bond with them because bonding is important so that you have a good relationship with the bird, and then things are just smoother and better. You're not getting bit all the time and all these different things that people get really frustrated with. So also researching and understanding how to bond with your bird and how to build trust with them is also really important.
Absolutely. And I feel like social media sometimes doesn't help with that because you see all these videos with the bird super cuddly, and I'm part of the of the problem, I know. I just can't resist it. But at the same time, for example, I want to let know, for example, the case of Pink and Floyd, I cannot pet them, and I cannot do certain things with them because it's just their personality. And we also have to accept this. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that we have is when getting a bird and you are new to uh, having birds,
Yeah.
you are just so ready to love them
Yeah.
that you want to be their friends instantly. But we have to understand that we are just some random giants for them. We
Yeah.
have to earn their trust
Yeah.
and show them that they can trust us. And actually, that was my mistake with being employed. I was eager to pet them and to be their friend, but they actually, well, being employed's case is a bit messy, but we have to accept that it's not going to be fast, and
Yeah.
they need their time to adapt and adjust to us. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm so glad that you actually mentioned that because it is so important. There's so many times where I get messages that like my
yeah,
bird won't let me pet them. They won't come out of the cage. What do I do? Help me. And you really just have to give it time. And there is no amount of time. Like I can't tell you that you'll bond with your bird in 2 weeks or you'll bond with them in 2 days or in two
exactly.
months. It's really going to depend on the bird. And if you're adopting a bird or they're a rescue, they might have a history and a past. So it might take longer for them to
Exactly.
warm up to humans or trust you. But you just have to make sure that, do your research on what are the proper techniques to bond with your bird. Go slowly, move slowly around them
Yeah,
because, like you said, we're ready because we know what's going on. Like, I brought a new
exactly.
parrot home. I got all of these things for you. I have toys, I have a cage, I have pellets, and all these different things, but they don't understand that. They don't understand what's going on. They're just like, I'm in this new place and it's scary. And you had mentioned how they're neophobic, like they're scared of new
Yeah,
things. And they're like, who is this person? And they're giant. They're trying to grab me. They're coming at me with this
exactly.
big hand. Like it's scary to them and it's not natural for them. So we have to also think about how the bird is feeling in this situation and just give them space. Let them know, like, I come in peace, offer treats even from a distance, like, give them that, like, reassurance that you come in peace by displaying that in your behavior and your actions.
Exactly. For example, it took me 2 years, well, a year and a half, almost 2 years, to being employed to get to accept a treat from my hand. So yeah,
Yeah.
it can get, and I can still not pet them, and it's been 4 years. So I have no expectations. Honestly, I think it's the best having no expectations, so you don't. It's not frustrating,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that's a really good approach is not having the expectation because
Yeah,
when someone brings a new bird home, they're expecting the bird to just like be with them right away. And that's not always going to be the case. And I love that you
yeah,
shared that because that's a great example. Like it took 2 years, and 4 years, and you're still not able to scritch them. So you have to just, let it happen at the bird's time. And it's
exactly.
not always going to be ideal because we have a different timeline, but we have to be patient with our birds. I also wanted to ask, what are like activities or toys or foraging opportunities that your cockatiels like really like? Like, what do you set up for them that they love the most that's maybe like specific to cockatiels?
Specific to cockatiels, I'm not sure, but Cork is my best friend with the cockatiels, honestly.
I've
It's
noticed
very
that a lot
resist
of conures and cockatiels, like small parrots, really love
yeah.
cork.
Yeah, because it's very easy for to bite it, and it's very durable. Honestly, I have cork everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, and you can actually hide treats in it, so it's great for foraging too.
Yeah.
Another thing they love is coconut husk and
Oh.
hay. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't
they
know
really like
hay.
that. Yeah,
They just like to
they
nibble on it or forage
exactly
through it.
exactly they do both. They forage and they nibble on it. And actually, by nibbling on the hay, they kind of get small properties that the hay has. Sorry.
Oh, so a bonus.
And exactly. And actually, there's these pre-packed hay packs that comes already with flowers in it, with dried
Oh, that's
flowers. So it's
great.
like a little free field for them.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so cute. I love that. Since we're talking about cockatiels, we can't not ask this question. Night frights. Do your teals have night frights? And
Yes,
what?
they do.
And how often do they happen? What are they like? Tell us about the night frights. Because I know that this
So
is a
yeah,
very like cockatiel thing. Like every cockatiel owner always
yeah,
talks about
yeah.
the night frights and losing like their tail feathers and their flight feathers when they have them.
Yes, I don't know about any cockatiel owner that hasn't experienced night frights.
Yeah.
At the beginning, with Pink and Floyd, there were very frequent, and it came to a time where Pink lost a lot of her feathers from the wings. She couldn't fly for 2 months, poor thing. And honestly, you have to keep trying different things that work for you with the night frights. Usually, it's having a night light. That doesn't work. That doesn't work for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
nightlight doesn't
They
help?
No, no. I actually, to absolutely cover them, it's pitch black. It's when they get, yeah, they have less night frights.
Oh, when it's pitch
Obviously,
black, they have less night
yeah,
frights.
yeah,
Because then there's less likelihood, I guess, of there being like a shadow or something in the light that's going to
exactly,
scare them.
exactly. That's in my case. Yeah.
Hmm. I
Um,
think it's
yeah,
also good that you mentioned that because it's important to note that it depends on the birds. Like one person's experience might be to have a night flight or a night flight, to have a night light to
yeah,
prevent the night frights, whereas in your case, it's like they need to be pitch black, no night light because it makes it worse.
exactly. But if it's pitch black, you have to be able to act very quick if they have a night fright to open the light very fast, because otherwise they will just keep banging um, everywhere on the
Yeah.
cage.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Have they
Yeah.
had a night fright where tell me what was like tell me an experience of a night fright that you've had.
Okay, so for example, it happens more often on summer because the street is busier. We have a lot of tourists here,
Yeah.
and at night it can get very loud. So during summer is when they have maybe one or two max, no more.
Oh, okay. That's not too
Yeah.
bad.
No, no, no. It's I came to a point where the knife fights are pretty under control.
Oh, that's good.
Basically, they get scared and they want to fly away when they have a night fight. And one
Yeah.
thing you never have to do is open the door of your cage, because the bird will go flying around
Okay, so
scared.
if they're having a
Yeah, they
night
just panic.
fright, what do you
Yeah.
do? Like, does it wake you up? Are they super loud when the
Yeah.
night fright happens? Okay, so you wake
Yes,
up, you spring out of bed, you run to their
exactly.
room, and what do you
Mhm.
do?
You open the light, I uncover the blanket, and I just let them come on their own. Because if
Okay.
you try to interact, they can get more scared, because they are having like a panic attack. I mean, no, but it's they are very stressed.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
yeah, you
gosh.
just have to let them calm down on their own and with the light on. And when they are calmed down, everyone goes back to their perches. You maybe leave the light on for more time, then you cover them again, and back to sleep. At least this is how our routine for a night fright goes.
Yeah. And that works for you and your flock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Exactly.
important to find what works for you and your specific flock, because as we've mentioned throughout this episode, every bird is different and they all have different personalities and different things that are going to work for them and not work for them. Have you ever had an experience with a night fright or just in general with your cockatiels where they did like a butt blast, where they like let go of their butt feathers or like lost any flight feathers during a night fright?
With Pink, the flight feathers, she lost a lot of them. And she actually couldn't fly for a couple of months. She was bleeding a lot. We had to go to the vet. Yeah.
Oh my
She
gosh. So the flight feathers broke and it was like a blood feather. So she was bleeding?
Exactly. She broke a
In the
few
middle of the
blood feathers.
night?
Yeah.
So what did you do?
Yeah. Well, I grabbed her because I saw that she was bleeding. It was actually chaotic. It was only once, like 4 years ago. But,
Yeah. I can
I had
only
to grab
imagine the
her.
chaos.
Yeah. I had to, plus it's in the middle of the night. You are still zombie.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to react very fast. So I saw she was bleeding. I grabbed her with the towel. I tried to stop the bleeding, and next morning we went to the bed,
How
basically.
did you try to stop the bleeding? What did you do? What did you put on?
Like with the bandage, you're pressing the blood feather.
Did you use
Um,
styptic powder or cornstarch?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what these are.
Okay, so styptic powder is a powder that like vets use to stop bleeding. Or
Okay,
an alternative is cornstarch. So if your bird has like bleeding, because bleeding is one of the things that we have to control the fastest. As we mentioned earlier, like one drop of blood is a lot for them with their size.
yeah.
And in episode 34 and 38,
Yeah.
we had Dr. Octavio on, and he had mentioned like bleeding is something that you really need to control as quickly as possible. And we talked about the options of styptic powder and cornstarch because those can help stop the bleeding. But I guess the bleeding wasn't like super intense that you were able to just
No,
apply
exactly.
some,
Yeah.
pressure and stop the bleeding. So at least there was that. Otherwise, you'd have to be like getting dressed and going to the vet in the middle of the night. If you
Yeah, the
even
thing
have a
is,
24/7 vet near you with an
no,
avian
we
vet.
don't. And not an avian bed. No. So the closest one is in Barcelona, which is 2 hours
Oh my
away from
gosh.
with by car. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
I really
crazy.
hope we never have an emergency. Otherwise,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's
scary. Oh my gosh. So, if you're thinking about a cockatiel, make sure that you understand that they get night frights. But I mentioned butt blasts because a year ago, we talked about this on the podcast, and Jessa had come on, and she also has a cockatiel. She has a very diverse flock with different species of birds. And she mentioned about the butt blast. I mean, that's not the official term,
yeah,
but it is
I get
funny
it.
and to the point. And basically, it's something that cockatiels and other species do in the wild, where when a predator is like chasing them, they release their butt feathers. So they do like this blast to shoot out their feathers to as like a defense mechanism. And I mean, it's something that works for them in the wild, but when they're domesticated and at
Hi,
home, they still have these natural instincts. So sometimes when they
hi.
get scared, like during a night fright, or they get frightened by something else, they might like release those butt feathers and just
Yeah,
drop them.
yeah.
Uh,
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it in my cockatiel. So I guess they haven't panicked so
oh,
much to do
that's
so.
good.
I've seen it in pigeons though.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
pigeons are the other ones that do it
yeah.
too. Yeah. Yeah, so that's just something to also be aware of if, you're thinking about a cocktail or you have one. So we're going to wrap things up, but before we do, I want you to share with everybody how they can find you on social media and anything else you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, sure. We have our Instagram is our most active platform on social media. We share funny reels and sometimes educational content. I'm reactivating our YouTube, and we finally have a website. It's
Awesome.
in the website you can have all our social media channels basically. Um, so yeah,
And that's at the Bird Band, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so last question, and then I'm going to ask you some funny questions. Can you tell us what advice would you give someone that's considering getting their first cockatiel?
Make sure you are ready to prevent
Night frights.
all the well, not only night frights, but all the dangerous situations a cockatiel can be in. Most important, make sure you have a vet near you because I get messages, can you help me? I don't know what's going on with my cockatiel. I don't have a vet near me. Uh, I'm not a vet. I cannot diagnose
Yeah.
anything, and doing it online it's not the best way because it's always best if your vet just can check the the bird.
Yeah. It's so
um
important to have an
yeah,
avian vet near you or like know where the avian vets are in your area because regular
exactly.
vets aren't going to know everything about birds and they're not always going to be able to help you and you never know what can happen. So having an avian vet and knowing where they are in your area is a really good tip.
And also I think it's very important, foraging, no matter the diet situation of your bird, if you are changing the diet, if they are already eating well, it's so important because yes, they have their toys, they have their food, but what are they supposed to do the rest of the day when we are not around, or even if we are around?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very, very important to have that they have foraging opportunities, and there are so many ways to do it.
Yeah.
You can do it hanging in the toys, in a tray.
Yeah.
And I actually received this message. Oh, but I cannot do this foraging tray because my bird makes a mess out of it. Well, it's normal.
Yes, birds are
It's
messy. They're
something
going to make
normal.
a
Yeah.
mess every day.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. And they don't
Exactly.
care. They're dropping toys, they're dropping seeds, they're pooping, they're going to be messy. But
Yeah.
yeah, foraging is something that's really important because, like birds in the wild, whether it's parrots or other types of birds, most of their day is spent foraging. They're looking for food, they're foraging, and it's also like mental enrichment, but it's also exercise for them. So the foraging is so important for all species. And I know we mentioned that like cockatiels and I think like galahs, cockatoos, they also
Yeah.
are birds that like to forage a lot, especially on the ground. So, depending on your species, you might want to get creative with what types of foraging they naturally do in the wild. So, like for cockatiels, I think foraging trays or like bigger foraging trays are really
Yeah.
great because it kind of mimics, like you were mentioning, you put hay and all of these types of different things for them to
Exactly.
forage through because that's something that they would naturally do in their environment. And like conures, for example, or like other types of birds, parrots that are in the jungle, they're foraging like for fruits and they're looking for seeds and they're looking through stuff and they might be chewing bark and things like that up higher than cockatiels or cockatoos. So you just want to be mindful of the types of foraging opportunities that you're providing. But like you said, like there are puzzle toys, you could do bowls, you could do trays, you could
Exactly.
create foraging opportunities on a cork bridge. Like I just sprinkle some seeds in
Yeah.
there and there's all these crevices and she has to like look through and pick out, everything.
Or even a
Pine
pine
cones are
cone.
great. You
Yes.
can stuff things inside. Like and there's so many toys on the market now and like puzzle toys and like just so many. Back Zoo Nature has a lot of really great products.
Yeah,
They've got,
it's amazing.
yeah, those new ones where you have like boxes or trays and they're
Yeah.
filled with different things and toys, and you just add like dry foods in there and you've got another foraging opportunity. So there's just so many ways to create foraging opportunities. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and I
make
think
sure your birds are foraging.
it's very important. And especially even with Biji, with canaries, even the small birds, the smallest birds need foraging. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter the size. That's a good point.
Mm.
Big or small, they all need exercise. They all need a healthy diet. They all need foraging. They all need out of the cage time. They all need space and they all need like attention and love. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter the size. All right, let's wrap things up. I'm just going to ask you a couple of funny questions to end the podcast for today. If your cockatiels could talk in full sentences, what do you think that they would say to you? I want to know
Um,
what Mildred would say.
yeah, I was exactly thinking of Mildred. Probably that she doesn't like some decoration because whenever she's not okay with something, she just throws it away. Like this doesn't belong here.
Oh my
Stuff
gosh.
like that, I guess.
What about Pink? What do you think Pink would say? Because she's really sweet.
She's quite quiet. I mean, I don't know. I'm not
She'd
sure what she
probably
would
keep
say.
it to herself. She'd be like, I know
Yeah,
a sentence and
probably.
I'm not going to say it.
I wish I knew what Stella, for example, would say because she has special needs. That would be very interesting.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to ask you about Stella because I
Yeah.
saw the video that you posted.
Yeah.
So I'll let you tell us about Stella.
She was born with this disability that she cannot fly properly. She makes backflips. It's often
Saw
seen
that.
in parlor roller pigeons, but it's a different
Interesting.
case because in Stella's case, she can actually fly.
Yeah.
But they will turn 2 years in a couple of months, and she has been progressing amazingly. She's just strong little girl.
Cute.
Yeah. It was very hard at the beginning. We kept sessions with the vet, seeing what was best for her. And I'm not sure still if it's a neurological problem or just a mild neurological issue, but she tends to fly backwards whenever she's stressed.
But only
Or
when she's stressed.
yeah, but a lot of things can trigger her stress. Like she is not sure when she's flying, she's not sure where to land. She maybe backflips.
Oh my
She
gosh.
the seagull passes by, she backflips. Or the flock just starts flying around, she backflips.
Oh
But
my
we've
gosh.
come to a point where she always lands on her feet, so she kind of recovers
Okay.
mid-flight. Yeah.
That was going to be my next question. Like when she's doing these
Yeah.
backflips, is she like just like fall landing or, is she okay? Like has she ever injured herself?
No, 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 no. There was a time when she broke almost all her tail feathers,
Oh
and yeah,
my God. That's
that
so
was the
scary.
yeah. She was like, I'm not sure if she was a year old already, but we had to stop the training for a good 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, I saw that
So
you did like
yeah,
a lot of training to like help her be able to fly now and also like reduce her triggers.
exactly. Yeah, but I mean a lot every day.
Yeah.
It was and there was this time when we got stuck. Like she would be able to fly when starting training, but 5 minutes later we had to start at the beginning with short distances and keep increasing the distance. But one day I work from home, luckily, so I can keep an eye on her all day. I was working, and she suddenly landed on my head. And at first I thought it was Daphne or Lute, and suddenly I saw Stella. I got so excited, like, what are you doing here? And since then, she started to gain a lot of confidence with herself, and she actually flies on her own, not only on our trainings. She has gained a lot of confidence,
That's
and she's
amazing.
doing great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And this was just something that she was like born with, right? Like
Yeah.
when she started flying, you just noticed like she's back flipping. I can't even
Yeah.
imagine what that must have been like for you, like the initial reaction. Like I'd be like, what is going on? I don't even know what to do.
Exactly. At the beginning, you think that, well, maybe she's just starting to learn, because when they are babies and they flap
Yeah.
their wings, they are, well, clumsy until they properly learn how to fly. And
Mm.
I thought that she just needed to train, and then she started backflipping. So okay, let's go to the bed.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on here. Yeah.
So it's been quite a journey with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's a strong gal. I'm happy to hear that she's,
Amazing.
come like so far and made so much progress with her flight.
Yeah. I'm so
Okay.
proud of her.
A couple more funny questions. If your birds had a job, what would it be? What would their cockatiels' jobs be? And Bee Gees.
I know Floyd would be the mayor. I don't know. It kind of gives you this feeling that he wants to control everything, but the queen is pink.
Yeah. What
Exactly.
about Mildred?
Mildred, an explorer, definitely.
Cute.
Yeah.
Do your birds have a favorite TV show or movie that they like to watch?
They have favorite music.
Tell me, what is their
Yeah.
favorite music?
BG actually it's called her name comes from the music band the Bee Gees.
Yeah, cute.
Uh, because I one day I was playing when she arrived, I was playing Staying Alive. And she started chirping a lot, and okay, the name is gonna be BG.
Cute. So they love
And
music.
yeah, yeah. Stella loves classical music. She talks a lot when hearing classical music.
That's so cute. What is the weirdest thing that your birds have ever been afraid of?
Cork.
Cork? I thought they loved
Yeah,
cork.
they do, they do. The
I
thing
love
is,
this. No, I'm scared.
yeah, I always had pieces of cork or like flat pieces of cork. But one day I introduced this cork tunnel, and that
Oh,
was, yeah,
it
that
was too
shape was
scary because it's a
something
different
else.
shape.
Yeah, yeah. And it's the same material, but anyway.
I've seen that you've done like a lot of like funny twists on like show covers and movie covers. So I thought it would be fun to ask you if your birds were in a heist movie, what would the heist be?
I'm pretty sure it would be getting as many seeds as possible.
Open the vault filled with the seeds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Etta, for coming on to the Parrot Podcast and sharing so much about cockatiels and canaries. It was really insightful and it was really awesome to get to talk to you today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Parrot Podcast. I'm your host, Sandra, and this is my co-host, Mia. We hope that this episode helps you understand a little bit more about the differences and similarities between conures and cockatiels. And if you're deciding between the two, I hope that this was really insightful for you. Don't forget to check out Ada and all of her cute cockatiels and Canary BG at the Bird Band, and we'll see you in the next episode. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. I'm not a licensed avian vet, behaviorist, or professional expert in parrots. The information provided is not intended as a substitute for professional advice from a qualified avian vet, trainer, or behaviorist. Please consult with a specialist for personalized guidance on your specific situation.